Hello, everyone. And with me is a remarkable woman, Joanna Fix. Given your background, you're pretty skillful at noticing the things about someone being sexually, and I'm going to use my least favorite phrase on earth, or almost inappropriate, sexually inappropriate. Because in the world of dementia, this phrase, inappropriate, sexually aggressive, sexually it gets used when people feel, in my mind, uncomfortable with what someone else is saying or doing around them. And there's so many variations on this that to me it means almost nothing because all it means is you didn't like something someone did. I get that. And the way they did it made you feel so uncomfortable and so threatened that you believe that they were misbehaving with the intent to cause you a bad interaction or something. I don't know how else. I mean, harm would be intense, but I guess they feel like they were emotionally harming you by their behavior. Um, Tell me when I say that to you, sexually inappropriate. What's your background tell you with that phrase, Joanna? I'm like,
Well, I mean, that doesn't belong in the world of dementia because with a mind that has been compromised with a dementia diagnosis, um, I'm sorry, you don't get to use those certain words anymore. Okay, because if I was being it would be like saying I'm sexually on purpose. I'm aggressive on purpose. I'm inappropriate on purpose. If any of us living with a dementia diagnosis could choose, do you think that that's what we would choose
it's not
to
in your
make the world
background. It's never
uncomfortable?
come up before. I mean, there's no
I mean,
history of this prior to your
right.
getting this condition. I think, yeah. I mean, if people would look and think, to me, that's the first problem is
Right,
this
are you in
assumption.
jail? Do you have a history of being incarcerated as a predator? I mean, if this was not as part of your makeup and your foundation, personality-wise, then this idea of I mean, it's just taboo in our culture, right? I think that's why people, go,
Mm,
oh my gosh, get away, push this away,
yeah,
shame on you. They've just become
yeah, better
totally
than that.
perverted. And
Yeah,
it's like, no, that's not it.
yeah. I mean, and frequently I find that in many cases it's the behavior and the location combined with the task that often can get misinterpreted by the person living with dementia, but then it gets misinterpreted by the carer who's trying to provide quote unquote care. But in the way it's done, there's this disconnect. So, talk to me a little bit about what you've noticed in yourself or others that you spent because you talk to people all the time. Um, Sexual drive for in most dementias, the drive towards sexuality and heightened sexuality. How often does that, in your background, how often does that actually come up? That it's not just I want to be hypersexual and I want to be it, and I've never been before, but now I want to be hypersexual with people I don't know at all.
Also, me personally, like my personal experience,
Mhm.
so it might be different with the progression that I'm experiencing now, which is early in my marriage, I we were more aligned and more both assertive and
Mhm.
intentional with our intimacy. And actually now I get really grumpy if we haven't had physical time together. Doesn't necessarily mean, need to be biblical sense, but I don't have the awareness that
Mhm.
this isn't part of our regular life. And so he knows when I start saying things, and I don't think this is what you asked, but I need to say it this way.
No, go for it.
I've this aspect of me is like the least desirable characteristic. So he'll be on his phone, let's say, and if we
Mhm.
haven't had enough physical time, he'll be on his
Okay.
phone, maybe texting his brother or looking at something for the dogs on Amazon. And I'll say, and I've been doing this for the last several months. I'll say, "Does your girlfriend know that I am crazy and I will strangle. I mean, it's like my
Ah,
husband has never given me any
huh.
reason to be
Yeah.
suspicious in our entire 10
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
together. And
Wow.
now I'm going, and he knows now. Okay, early on he didn't know. He's like,
No.
"What the hell?" And now he's like, I haven't given my wife enough physical intimacy where she feels safe in our marriage, and I
Yeah.
need to attend to that. And that is something that just started probably 6 or 7 months ago.
That is so amazingly helpful because I could imagine most people in most relationships without this level of um I don't even know what to call it, your knowledge, your appreciation, and then Forrest's ability to be responsive to that. I mean, you two are a remarkable partnership in making this come together in a reasonable way. He takes the cue you gave him, which is the one your brain could find, um,
Mhm. Oh,
and then
yeah.
uses it to acknowledge so intimacy. And when we talk about that, people of course will, I know how this works, will go to, oh, you want to have sex. That's not what she said, and that's not what you're saying this hugging, touching, being with, being present with, um, whether
And
it's
it has
kissing,
to be
whether it's just
physical.
snuggling.
Like, I mean, we if we sit on the sofa together, if our legs and our arms are touching, sometimes that's enough.
That's
Sometimes we
mhm,
need to be cuddling.
yeah,
And the other thing is, and you can edit this later, right?
yeah,
If it's
yeah,
not making
right.
sense. But now my brain, so this is kind of funny. So when he's getting ready to, he's getting ready to take a shower, if I'm in the bedroom and I see him get naked, my brain goes, "Oh, I know what to do now." And now he doesn't say anything, and he may be getting ready for
To take a
a
shower.
doctor's
That was all
appointment.
he
And
was
I'm
up
like,
to. Yeah.
"Well, honey, you should have scheduled this in," because my brain sees my naked husband and goes, "I know what to do. I know what to do. It doesn't matter what's going on or what the agenda is. I know what to do." And, that works for us. I mean, sometimes
Yeah,
we have to make a shift, but the light is either green or yellow for us. It's never red. It's never red.
interesting.
So,
Okay, so that's wow. And I would think many people who are hearing this are going, well, you sound like you have a fairly healthy but interesting sexual relationship and intimacy relationship with your spouse. And it's like, yeah, both Forrest and you feel comfortable in this. And Forrest is not ever giving off vibes about, again. I mean, you're not
no.
getting that sense from Forrest. Forrest enjoys your time and your life together, as you all are. And I remember early on, he said, I actually think I love you and like you better now than I did when you were working full time, if I remember correctly.
Well, see, he never met me before my
Oh,
brain changed. So we met when I was symptomatic, but I got the diagnosis the year later, and then we
hmm,
got married the year after that. So he didn't know me when I was, this
the old Joanna.
the yeah, I and I'll yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I don't think we would have been a good pair at
Yeah.
that time.
Now, Joanna, I know something else about you, so I'm curious how this fits in. One of the things when you get sensory or emotionally sensory, like, you often like to hold, snuggle, and touch something. Um,
Yes, and I have one thing right here, and I have the other thing right here.
yeah,
And however juvenile that translates, it does the trick
it
because
does
I
the
can't
trick.
hold both of my actual dogs in my lap for very
Yeah,
long.
dogs are a little
Yeah,
overwhelming sometimes. So this idea of using your hands for a sensory reset for you
right.
and a sensory comforting and using your body, bringing your body into that. Do you recall if prior to dementia, were you that kind of seeker? And so this is totally a different part of you.
It's a different part of me, and I'm also not someone who likes to be touched. So
Yeah,
I'm not generally a hugger. I mean, if I do it, that means I'm comfortable,
you're good.
if I approach you. But generally, I mean, and this is something that bothered me Sundays at church is when they'd say, stand up and greet your neighbor. I'm like, no, no thanks, I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. And so I'm not someone who has a history of enjoying
Yeah,
physical touch. I mean, unless of course it's a relationship,
right.
then that's on my terms. I know the parameters and I'm
Yeah,
in partial control of that, you know. I'm a
yeah.
contributing person. So this was not part of
This
my.
was not part of it. Do you find it's things that are inanimate that you feel most comfortable doing that kind of touching with, or Forrest and a few other human beings you like that physical connection with, other than the animals that you can do it and you know sort of the boundary of what you like to do with them?
Well, so I like touching my husband
Mhm.
because he's my favorite human. And when we're, walking somewhere, we have our arms linked. I
Okay.
mean, also for stability and safety, there's all kinds of benefits to hanging on to him. But also when we're just passing each other through the house, I I actually have to have us both stop and hug or kiss or acknowledge or
Okay.
something physical. Otherwise, my Alzheimer's brain goes, he's thinking about something else. He's doing something else. He's
Gotcha.
mad at me. He doesn't like me.
Okay.
I'm ugly and, horrible and
You
old and
start doing a
stupid.
spiral, like
Right.
this
And
negative spiraling.
I
Okay.
didn't used to do that. I know that some humans do that that don't have dementia, but this is new for me.
This is the dementia doing this sort of,
And
and
yeah,
it's reticular activating system, do you think? Because if he sort of gives you that and the cue is there, then your brain just keeps hunting for it, keeps looking
right.
for it. Every little thing, it's another thing. Oh, there it is. See, there it is.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean,
But you
it's
can also do
terrible.
that reverse. So if you get the other, then you can get yourself switched up. But you don't think that it just happens that way.
Right, right. This is just how I'm existing in the environment now with my
Mhm.
progression. And it's an adjustment. I hate that characteristic. I do, but thank God he knows that
It's not
he's
the
got
time to
the
say,
answers.
something's on the stove, Joanna. I'll be right back. Hang on. I mean,
Yeah.
that's woo.
Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect. There's been a lot of bumps and a lot more lately than early on. I mean,
Mhm.
they're different. There's different bumps and turns but when you both have the same goal, which is our marriage is the most important thing, our happiness, our successful journey, well, we have the same goal and how we get there as partners. I have my way of doing the best I can. He has his way of doing the best he can and responding to, my stuff.
Yeah. And you
and
guys figure out how to come together still. I mean, and you
yeah.
value it still. That's huge. If you were to say, the kind of intimacies that, whether it's social intimacy or physical intimacy or cognitive intimacy, um, do you still have other people in the world besides Forrest that you have some intimate relationships with?
Well, I hug Paula. She's my best friend.
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't think. I mean, I hug the people who I know are safe,
Hmm.
and I don't hang on people. I don't want people hanging, but
No.
that's reserved for that. And
Okay.
I have probably a handful of people, but I don't even necessarily always do that with my relatives because, relatives are relatives, right? So, and it depends on where I'm at also, because if I don't have enough to give away that day, then don't force me to give it. And if somebody comes up and they are too familiar, they assume this relationship.
Mhm.
And I saw this. This was like a this was the other day. This was on, those lawyer commercials
Yep.
they have. It says previous results are no guarantee of future performance. I want you to make a t-shirt with that.
That's a great t-shirt
I
logo.
want
I
to make a
like it.
t-shirt
Oh,
because
that's perfect.
I feel like if
I'm gonna have
women,
to pull that one. That one's it. I think
I
that's
wrote it
accurate.
down
Yeah.
to share it with you, and I thought, okay, if I didn't sleep well, if I'm not emotionally stable, if I'm not in a good place and you want me to give something away, I mean, that's literally what you're asking, if you're asking me to hug you or respond to that. And so Paula leaves it up to me, my neighbor Sandy, my neighbor, my friends and my people who know me know it's up to me. And if it's not a good day to touch, but you maybe sit for a while and maybe I'll hug you when you leave. I mean, who knows? But I may not have enough to give away, and that's giving away.
That is, I really love how you're framing that because I think people who are not living with see it as this beautiful offer of relationship. And it's like, yeah, well, here's the thing.
You're
To
taking
do
from
that, I
me.
have to
Yeah,
let go of a little bit of who I am and what I do to be with you. And
right,
that's not as easy as you think it is. It used to be super easy because I could know where the boundary was and I knew how much I had to give, and I would locate myself away and in my office doing something different if I and sometimes I find myself in the middle of something and then it's like, uh-oh, running out.
right,
It's running on empty. Ugh, ugh, don't touch. Please
right,
don't touch me right now.
right.
Um,
So
and
previous results are
not are not are not a guarantee for
and
future.
future performance. And
I love it.
I think that needs to be our next t-shirt.
I like it. I think I'm going to take you up on that because I agree with you. Absolutely. So I have a couple more little questions if you have a little more energy, or you can tell
Uh,
me I'm about done.
no, I'm good
Good.
today.
Okay.
Mm.
So physical intimacy, like around, like you're trying to get dressed or you're trying to get your clothes off, you're trying to go to the bathroom. I mean, any of those kinds of tasks. Um, you're not at the place now it yet, or at all. You'll ever go there necessarily, where you get in the middle of the task and now you can't remember which direction you're going. And someone tries to just come in and start making you go in a certain direction. So, like, let's say someone was trying to take their clothing off. I mean, and this things happen a lot where people are thinking they're taking their clothing off, and you didn't realize, ooh, you're in the living room, but you're not at your house, Joanna. You're in a residence where other people are, and you're starting to take your clothes off because you're ready to go to bed. Um, some of us take our clothes off in spaces that aren't bedrooms or closets. I mean, we're at home, we're private, we can do it how we like to do it. And so I started to take, if someone starts to take their clothes off, and a staff member says, "Oh, Joanna, no, 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 you can't do that here. You need to go to your room. No, no, don't do that." What, from your sense of self, what do you think might happen at that point?
Well, I don't like the word no.
Mm,
I don't think most people like the word no. But
mm,
as soon as someone starts to do that, no, 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 and that reaction as if I'm somehow doing something wrong, then that's really going to make me feel like I need to protect myself.
mhm,
And that's someone who's on the opposite side of my side. That's someone who's not supporting me in
mm,
whatever my endeavor is. So just the language alone, just someone say, "Oh no, 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 no." I'm my brain's gonna go, "Oh, enemy,
mm,
enemy. This is not a
mm,
friend. This is a foe." Because I know that I am not doing. I mean, I know inside myself, I am doing either what I've always done, or what makes sense to me, or what I
mm.
need to do to feel better.
Yeah.
So, someone saying no, I mean, is this hurting you? It's not hurting you. It may be embarrassing to somebody. It probably isn't to me without that
Right.
awareness, but that right away, that verbiage is that my brain goes, "Oh, enemy. That's an enemy."
Mm, mm.
Immediately I go there.
Let's say they then try to grab the clothes out of your hands and pull them back onto your body.
Well, now we're talking about Friday night fights.
Well, and
WWE
this is what
because
I want people to appreciate. It's like, guys, quit this because you trigger all this and you blame the person who's living with the brain change, but yours was the brain that went into emergency mode for no good reason. And to use the excuse, well, I'm trying to protect her dignity. That phrase
yeah.
has no place in this, in my mind.
No, it doesn't have a place, just like inappropriate sexual
Yeah,
aggressiveness. I mean, none of that, because when as soon as people say those words, that that person with Alzheimer's is being inappropriate, aggressive. Okay, that doesn't go with that. That doesn't go with that because their brain is no longer able to make those choices. So they are innocents. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's on the
true.
people with the healthy brain. We are innocent. I mean, I do the best I can. I know I make mistakes. I know I act out, and but for the most part, I'm not there where I'm just swinging from the chandeliers. But it does sound like something I would enjoy at some point. I'm not doing it now, but I mean, that's
Potential.
I mean, especially someone who doesn't like to be touched other than
Mhm.
by my husband and people that I trust.
Yeah.
That is really going to be harmful to the caregiver or
And to our
whoever's.
relationship. I mean, because this is where folks will make the excuse, well, she won't remember anyway. It's like, hmm,
What do you
yeah,
think goes on in here? You think that inside we don't have the
you might,
body keeps the score, folks. Have you ever heard of that textbook? The body
yeah,
keeps the score.
yeah,
Hello, the body keeps the score.
yeah,
I'm sorry, but it does.
yeah. And we might not, I mean, as a person who's around a lot, may not remember the exact situation, but I know I don't like you and I don't want you close to me and I don't want you touching my things and I don't want you touching me.
Right.
And, that sense of violation, I think people talk about this and it's often just pause for a second before you do what comes immediately to your head and go, does this serve either of us? I mean, you're
And do
taking
we
your
both
clothes off.
consent?
I mean, for me, it's like grab a sheet and hold it up. If you're really worried somebody's going to see her and, I'm going to offend someone, well, then I'll just hold the sheet up and say, hey, Joanna. And you might go, yeah. And I say, can you do me a big favor?
Yeah, I'll try.
Pause. And I might say, John's out here and he didn't realize you were going to change your shirt. Could we go down the hall? Because he's sort of getting uncomfortable with it.
Well, I mean, yeah, people act like they've never seen a naked person. It's going to burn
Oh,
their
it's like
retinas, but
Lordy B work at the VA and walk around from room to room as men sit on the sides of the bed and you have cheap
yeah.
pajamas. What can I
I
tell
mean,
you?
I went on I mean, years ago, decades ago, I went on a little cruise with my mom through the Darien jungle where they don't wear clothes, where
They don't
people
wear
don't go
clothes.
now
Yeah.
because, of all the,
Yeah.
and I mean, when you've had just a beautiful experience like that of a culture that they don't have any of that going on,
Yep.
you're reminded of, gee, wow, how freeing that would be. I mean, they even go topless in some places in Europe and
They
Germany and,
do. I know. It's
maybe
like
bottomless.
it's
I
a
don't know.
cultural thing, not a human thing. It's a
Yeah,
cultural thing.
right, right.
So I want to say thank you for such a refreshing and enormously helpful conversation. And I hope all of you who are listening are going, wow, I had no idea. Because we do these conversations to raise awareness, because it's too easy to blame someone whose brain is changing for our own ignorance. And it's time to stop and start getting curious.